welcome to our final webinar in the Globalise Your Marketing series. It's a great pleasure to be here with you this morning, and we can all hopefully look forward to a great session as a bit of a recap and a roundup to take another look at internationalizing your marketing and your website. So kind of a recap of the 10 webinars or the 9 webinars in the series, pulling it all together and taking you through the process that I take clients through when I'm working with them to help them internationalize their marketing and communications. So before we get into the material, just a quick introduction to the partners that have made this series of webinars and one-to-one sessions possible. So first of all, thank you to the West Yorkshire Combined Authority for putting on these great events and one-to-ones. We have had some wonderful feedback and some great interactions with budding exporters and existing exporters and businesses in the Yorkshire and Humber region and beyond, actually, which has been wonderful. So I'd just like to give you a little bit of information about the support that is available to you as an exporter. First of all, there is EU exit support from the Leeds Enterprise Partnership, looking at local specialist and technical support to help you get to grips with the UK's new trading relationships. So some great support available there. We have the Yorkshire and Humber EU Transition Support Service delivered by Enterprise Growth Solutions, looking at all the technical aspects of exporting that you may need to get to grips with, looking at rules on exports, imports, tariffs, data and hiring. And you can get more information from EU Transition YH at mobile.trade.gov.uk or call the number that is quoted on the screen here, 0300 365 1000, and they will be very happy to help and advise. We then have a specialist EU exit legal clinic delivered by the lovely Squire Patton Boggs, and they can help you with free export guidance on Brexit-related legal issues. So that may be something valuable and useful for you. And of course, we have the support offered by Chamber International and the Mid-Yorkshire Chamber of Commerce. So they are looking at providing you support for trade-related documentation, could include licensing, rules of origin, AORI numbers, tariff codes, application of tariffs, all of the tools and things that you need applicable to goods, clearing customs, etc. Also looking at labelling and packaging of goods. So some great support available to you there. This series of webinars is brought to you by UMI, who are supporting the West Yorkshire Combined Authority. And of course, these webinars and one-to-ones are really targeted at looking at the role that marketing and digital can play in being successful internationally. We have a website for the programme, www.go-global.co.uk, and you will be able to access further information and support on that website, but also access all of the other webinars that have taken place on demand there. So these are the sessions that we have had during this series, from Globalise Your Marketing through to websites, how to manage a website project, how to internationalize your website, a couple of sessions on LinkedIn, making a great first impression and looking at lead generation. And then what are the other digital marketing essentials for exporters, particularly in these times of change? And we moved on then to increasing sales, and a really great session on developing sales internationally, and of course managing stress for busy exporters, which I'm sure is something we all need to be mindful of and work at. And then finally, we had 7 top tips for business development from home, just bringing the whole piece together for you. And we've had 2 wrap-up sessions. Yesterday, you may have been with us, was just a combined recap of LinkedIn, and we had a great turnout for that and lots of questions and interaction, which was wonderful. And today, as mentioned, I'm going to take you step by step through that internationalization journey. But as mentioned, those webinars, if you are interested in them, you can catch them on demand on the website. They have all been recorded for you. So my background is very much an international. I lived and worked in Germany for 14 years and had a lot of experience because I was in the travel industry, traveling the world and looking at different countries and cultures. And then eventually came back to the UK and took up a role as chief exec of a subsidiary of One North East, the regional development agency, looking at digital and how businesses and third sector organisations can embrace digital to further their ambitions and goals. Way back in 2001, when I started, the question was, what's a website and why do I need one? My goodness, how things have changed now. Whereas today, the question is very much, particularly given the EU exit and given coronavirus and all of this change that we are focused with, is very much, how can we survive and thrive in these times of change and maximize the opportunities that we can see within this whole situation. So it would be my absolute pleasure to link with you on LinkedIn. Please look me up. Please drop me a message if you have some quick questions. I would be very, very happy to respond. And for those of you that have already booked one-to-one sessions, I am grateful to have had those sessions with you, or we are looking forward to the sessions still this week and next week. So I will give you of my very best and hopefully start that process of helping you to put some of the good practice we've learned on these sessions into practice. The one-to-one sessions are now actually fully booked, but if you are still interested, please drop us an email, and we are running a waiting list, so we'll keep your name on there if there are any changes. So on behalf of the West Yorkshire Combined Authority, we'd just like to ask you a question today, as we do at the beginning of these webinars. What would you most like to get out of this programme of support? If you have been on previous webinars, you will have answered this already, but please drop thoughts in there. Amanda will make the poll live for you now. What is top of mind for you at the moment? What would you like to get from these webinars, or what would you like to get from this program of internationalizing your presence? What is the most important aspect for you? And these answers actually do vary from day to day. It is really interesting, but I am seeing here attracting new global customers and creating an online international presence are pretty much top. Digital strategy also important, and of course, localizing your market presence, adapting to unfamiliar cultures, managing delivery into new markets and targeting and developing leads is all an important part of that. But I think for all of us, you'll probably agree, actually generating new business is very much top of mind at present. Amanda is just reminding us that if you have any questions for us at all, please do drop those into the live Q&A box. I'm going to be monitoring that as we go through the webinar, so please drop your questions in there. I will do my best to answer them as we go along. We have got a few breaks during this 2-hour session to take questions as well. And I would recommend you keep a piece of paper next to you, because I will be calling out actions and things that you can jot down and then reflect on and consider after the session, and obviously choose the ones that are most meaningful and appear the most productive and useful for you from that list. So, a step-by-step to internationalize your marketing and your website. Now, if you have been on the webinar series, some of this will be familiar, but what I am doing is putting your journey together now and taking you through the process that I would take clients through if I were working with you. So it really is that step-by-step guide to look at where you're at the moment, reflect on your 6 Ps. We'll be taking a look at that today, and just making sure that you've got the right marketing approach and you're targeting appropriately your international markets, and obviously internationalizing your websites. I'm going to pull that journey together for you. For those of you that haven't been on previous webinars, it's great to have you with us today. And this is a really good opportunity for you to get some insights into what needs to be done to internationalize your offer, that I am very confident will be both interesting and productive, and hopefully enjoyable for you as well. So we know with the EU exit and with coronavirus, we've been going through massive change. Amanda, who's supporting the webinar this morning, and I have been talking about this, and you know, how much more open to digital and online meetings and negotiations and webinars people have become. It's almost the new normal now. You know, previously it was very much a question of face-to-face, and there was understandably some resistance to digital, whereas now digital, I think, in this decade is very much going to become so integrated and embedded into our lives that we will barely see any separation anymore. And we're already seeing wearables and embeddables, and we're seeing how digital is becoming seamlessly integrated and an important part of our lives. And of course, we've had the EU exit and all of the massive change and upheaval that has created, where perhaps relations have changed with different countries and different markets in Europe. And, you know, we've had to work harder as exporters to really make up for that, to compensate and to manage those relationships with existing customers and partners, but also look to how we're going to create new business and new business opportunities. So if we focus on this aspect of global marketing and what does global marketing actually mean, it is to focus a product or service on the needs of potential buyers in another country. And of course, in those countries, we have different countries and different cultures who speak a different version of English, who maybe speak a different language and have different behaviors and preferences in terms of how they engage with the internet, with the World Wide Web, how they behave online, but also in terms of how they do business, what their decision-making processes are, and how that sales journey for those clients needs to take place from, I like to say, from the twinkle in the eye to the aftercare, you know, through that whole discovery phase of finding out about you, about engaging with you, about then starting to communicate, to do business or buy from you, and then develop hopefully an ongoing sustainable and productive relationship. And that varies very much from country to country. So in that whole process, there are a couple of core principles that I've talked about quite often in the webinars to date. And those core principles for me are really important. It is, I think, a good foundation for any international company that wants to increase sales to hold true to these principles and to keep them front of mind at all times. The first principle is think global, act local. You know, if you want to raise awareness of your business, to attract international clients, and to encourage them successfully to communicate with you and engage with you and then do business with you or buy from you, you really need to give them confidence that you can trade internationally and take great care of them. That is such an important aspect to get across. I usually talk about having a global attitude. You have 2 visitors to your international website and 2 core audiences that you need to reflect on in your marketing. That is people, prospects and target customers and partners who you want to work with, and they need to find that your company is easy to find, easy to contact, and easy to do business with, no matter which country, which language, which culture they are living in. So people on the one hand, on the other hand, you have international search engines. Now, they also need to have confidence in you. If they are returning your organization or your offer at the top of the search engines, they need to really be confident that your offer is relevant and you have a great website that customers will be really happy with. Otherwise, their search is not performing at peak. So this aspect of thinking global is really important, but as people prefer to buy from the people close to them in their local marketplace, and Google knows that, this aspect of acting local is also really, really important. So if you wish to be competitive in international markets, this element is very important. Making yourself appear as local as possible, embracing an audience's local language and local cultural preferences, and reflecting that in your marketing and in your website is a really important aspect. And of course, Google and other search engines know that that is the preference of your audience. So if you have local content, maybe in the local language, and you are able to engage with people effectively in that country that you are targeting, you will get better search engine optimization results. So principle number 1, think global, act local. Principle number 2, people buy from people that they trust. We may be working online a lot of the time, but actually the principles of face-to-face business still apply. People are doing business with people that they trust. And how do we actually build trust online? How do we increase people's confidence to engage with us and do business with us? And it is all about showcasing yourselves as the go-to expert in your field, and really also showing your customers that you are a safe and trustworthy pair of hands, and you are going to put your customers at the heart of what you do, putting them first and yourself second. In order to do that, you really have to understand your customers' needs and preferences from country to country, and really embrace that and make them feel at home, feel loved and wanted, feel cared for, feel understood. So you're showcasing that you have experience either with those B2C customers or with those particular sectors and areas of business, if indeed you are dealing business to business. So building trust is really important with both search engines and with your target audience. In order to be able to do that, of course, you have to put yourself into your customers' shoes. You really need to get to grips with who those target customers are, and you have to be telling them what you can do for them in their words, using their stories, using testimonials from clients just like them to build up trust and confidence, rather than just telling people what you do. And there's a big difference in that phrase. Tell them what you can do for them in their words, using their stories, rather than just telling them what you do. And of course, in terms of digital, so they were my 3 principles for you. In terms of digital, we know that people will check you out online. 90% of people are going to check you out online before they even make contact, and they will already have made decisions about your product or service offer. So if you are not making a fantastic first impression, you're going to have to work harder to make up that lost ground. So having a world-class digital presence is absolutely fundamental to export success these days. So I would just like to ask you, and you can reflect on this and type as we go along into the Q&A box. It would be great to hear from you. What are your biggest marketing and website internationalization challenges at the moment? Drop your questions into the Q&A box. Let me know what you're struggling with at the moment. And of course, I will do my best to answer your questions on an ongoing basis. So do take the time, make an introduction, drop your questions into the Q&A box. So our 7 steps to internationalize your marketing and website this morning, I'm just going to talk you through those step by step. Victoria Fuller, thank you for your question. Turning 500,000 social media followers into buying customers. Wow, Victoria, that's amazing. Well done on 500,000 social media followers. And yes, of course, you know, you want those to convert into, as a minimum, brand champions, and hopefully you're enjoying that success already, Victoria. But also to help that further your business. So a great question there. And of course, that engagement and that conversion is really important. Victoria, I think as well, it would be really useful for you to look at the on-demand sessions on sales and business development. I think you might find those quite useful if indeed you weren't already on those sessions. So we're going to take a step-by-step approach through stock taking. Where are you now? And you know, that's such an important part of the process to do benchmarking. What's worked well? What hasn't worked so well? You know, what good stuff do I want to continue doing moving forward? What should I leave behind? How can I actually refine what I'm doing and turn that into more success and more sales for the business? So taking a really good benchmark of where you're at the moment and recording that, I think, is an important step to take. It also gives you something to look back and measure. And of course, setting targets, setting goals and objectives for the business is really important. So you do need a strong measure in order to be able to do that and do that effectively. So stock taking, we'll spend a little bit of time reflecting on that and how you can do that and use that to your advantage. Richard, thank you for your response. Making sure that your website is seen by the right customers. And I'm sure you'll find today's session really valuable, Richard. We're going to dive deeply into that customer profiling aspect, but also how can you ensure that your website is visible in all of the right markets and you are getting that traction. So a really useful point there. Whilst you are stock taking and thinking about your customer profiling, which is number 3, what I like to do with clients once we've done that benchmark is actually look at what quick hits and quick wins can we use now and develop to keep that business coming in, potentially to tap into new opportunities while this internationalization process is ongoing. To start from a standing start to actually getting a functioning internationalized website will take you at least 3 to 4 months. I like to get clients to plan in 3 to 6 months. And obviously you need to reflect on your export strategy. You need to reflect on your marketing strategy, because the website's job and the marketing job is actually to support both of those and help you hit your targets. So we take a dive into quick hits, quick wins. What can we do now to keep the momentum going and to continue developing business? So I'll share a couple of tricks with you that can work well whilst you're doing all of this preparatory work. And then we'll take a deep dive into customer profiling and putting your customers first, and how can we really get smart about profiling our target customers, what I like to call our A-listers, and going a bit more niche and less general, because your marketing will work really hard for you then. And through profiling your customers, you really get to understand their wants and needs and preferences, and that will give you answers to pretty much all of the questions that you can be asking as you go through this journey. So it's a really important foundation to get right. I am going to take a little break out in the middle, and I'm going to talk a little bit about intuition and intellect, and how you can use your gut instinct, or your intuition as some people call it, to help you in that decision-making process, help you in that creative and innovative process. But also this serves to keep you well-grounded and manage all of that overwhelm and stress and busyness that you may be faced with. So just a small session in the middle to take a little bit of a break, which is what we covered in the sales and managing stress for busy exporters session. Just a small interlude to refuel for the second half. We then deep dive into how good is your welcome mat, and we're going to be looking at examples of digital strategies and international websites, and what good looks like, and how you can approach internationalizing your offer on a step-by-step basis. And of course, number 6 is planning early for international content. What I normally do in that stock taking and benchmarking area is ask clients to do a content audit, so we can really understand where the gaps and opportunities are and start that content creation process, because that is usually what holds up any website project, because it takes longer than we imagine to create and gather that content. But you may actually also need to factor in having it translated, for example. So planning early for international content, and I've got some great templates to share with you that will support you in that ambition. And then just getting organized. We will talk a little bit about international SEO and keyword research, by the way, in that content piece as well, and how you manage translation aspects. So lots to get through today, but hopefully a step-by-step process that will work well for you. So step number 1, deep breath in. Stock taking, what lies ahead, and how can you best navigate this process? So I'd like you to just take a pen and piece of paper and just reflect on the following checklist, which is created to get you reflecting about lots of different areas, and how are you doing in relation to these different questions. So just jot down any notes that are meaningful to you as we go through this. So question number 1, do you know which key countries and languages you want to target? Have you researched these and looked into them? And are you clear as to your export strategy? If not, that's a great action for your action list here. Have you researched the local needs and preferences of your target customers in those countries? And it is a great thing to just deep dive into the country. Obviously, if you can travel there, great. I have a great company in Scotland who produce Scottish knitwear. They were targeting Russia, and they went over and spent 2 weeks there and just soaked everything up. What the retail world looks like online and offline, what search engines people are using. In Russia, it's Yandex. How are people engaging there with social media? What are they using? Which was a great way to inform themselves of their customers' behaviors and preferences. And obviously looking at what they're talking about on social media, etc. Now, at the moment, we can't travel, but you can spend a lot of time researching and looking into that as part of this stock taking phase. Are your international offer and unique selling points clearly communicated on all of your marketing resources? Step back and take a good look at those. How are they working for you? You know, are they clearly getting across your messages? Are they up to date? And have they been adapted for those international markets so that they're easy to access and easy to understand? Does your communication approach focus on the international client viewpoint? This aspect of telling clients what you can do for them and putting the customers first and using their words and phrases. Is your website internationalized with country, language, and rest of world navigation? You know, how are you targeting different countries, or are you targeting different languages? Or is this an opportunity for you to take up? Have you got international testimonials and endorsements present and recent? And that is such an important aspect. We know from Nielsen retail research that, you know, confidence to buy increases between 64 and 93% if you have relevant testimonials from key people that I either recognize as peers or even from people I know. The closer those people are to me, the bigger the trust factor. So they are really, really important collateral to get on your website. Are you using international images, diagrams, videos, and other visual aids? You know, this aspect of a picture speaks 1,000 words. And do you make it easy for clients to contact you? Pretty much every website review I do, I can always find at least 1 or 2 telephone numbers that don't have the +44, or email addresses that are not hyperlinked, or you haven't put United Kingdom in the address, for example. So that is also a good thing to check through. Are the keywords in your global marketing relevant to international customers? You know, that will come out of your customer profiling. So it's an important piece of work to do, because it's no good, you know, you offering, let's say, mobile telephones in Germany, because nobody's going to be searching for mobile telephones. They're going to be searching for handies. It's an English word, but it's the word most Germans will use to describe it. So you need to get those words right. Do you know the relevant global search engines in that country to promote your business? I did a piece of work years back with a web design and development agency, web marketing agency, and they were tackling China on behalf of one of the local universities here. And they were describing to me this fantastic campaign using Google and what they were going to do. And I said, oh gosh, what about Baidu? And they said, Baidu? What's Baidu? And I said, well, that's the core search engine in China. Google only have a small percentage of the search market there. The search engine everybody uses is Baidu. So that was an interesting conversation where we started to reflect on how they can use Baidu in China to engage with their audience and what that campaign would look like. So important that you know which search engines are popular in the target markets that you are aiming at. Have your, have you ensured that the English you use is global, simplified, and avoids UK jargon? Only 17% of the world's population speak any English at all, 83% don't, and of those, 10% have learnt it as a second language. So keeping the English simple and clean is a really important step to take. It also supports your translation because you're paying per 1,000 words. So if you reduce the content down and simplify it, the translations will cost you less money as well. If you are doing translations, have they been done and checked by native speakers and sector specialists? Because you need both to be checked. You know, it needs to be an accurate translation, but it also needs to reflect the language that would be used in your particular sector, that you get the right words for that particular area. So again, something to think about. Do you know which international or local social media is relevant to my target customers? And I have a great tool to show you shortly that you can use to check that out. Again, just taking China as an example, you know, all of the social media resources there are very different. So it's important to know, you know, where certain social media tools are going to be relevant. So the question is, what social media are my target clients engaging with, rather than what platform should I be on? Do you know if paid advertising is relevant to target customers, countries, and markets? And have you reflected on how you might use paid advertising? If you do create, which I'm going to be suggesting down the line, some simple initial sales pages to help promote your offer rather than developing a fully blown website, pay-per-click campaigns can be really helpful in the short term to actually get those moving up to the top of the search engines and give you a little bit more visibility. So there is a place for paid advertising. We're not going to dive into that too much in this session, but it's certainly something for you to reflect on. Do you have and do you monitor objectives and measures for your global marketing? My dad used to say you only get what you measure. So it's really important you've got that benchmark. You set some targets and KPIs and what you want to achieve, and you are constantly reviewing and measuring that you've got Google Analytics on your website and you're checking the reports to see which pages are working hard for you and which pages aren't, that you're using Google Search Console and other search engine webmaster tools to constantly check how is my website and how is my digital marketing and how is my marketing strategy working for me? Is it delivering the results that I forecast and deserve here? And do you have a global marketing plan that you review, update, and refine monthly? My marketing plans, my export strategies, business plans, now I like to have a one-page dashboard that is really, really practical and pragmatic, that you are more likely to pick up and review and consider on a regular basis. So reducing that down and making sure that works for you, that's effective for you, is an important part. So hopefully food for thought. If you would like a copy of this checklist, it is a good tool to have. Then please drop your details into the live Q&A. I'll happily send that out. I certainly recommend to clients that they pick this up on a regular basis, maybe every 3 to 6 months, and just run through this and do a sanity check on where they are and a refresh of the broad aspects that you need to consider when internationalizing your marketing. So in this phase of taking stock, what I ask customers to do is to look at your existing customers and pull together a customer database analysis that you actually, and this is something I find with a lot of my clients actually, that they've got disparate databases in various different areas that they need to pull together. So I would like you to pull together all of your databases into one and then analyze it, you know, really take a look at it and the criteria you set that are right for you, but it could be size of organization, turnover, numbers of staff, you know, what is going to work really well for you. It could be location, it could be what products and services of yours they've bought in the past. Do they pay well? Are they great people to work with? Do I love working with this sector? So lots and lots of different questions that you can set to help you review the trends and themes that are coming out of this database analysis. I have not yet worked with a single client that's done this customer database analysis and not come back to me and gone, wow, particularly the ones that were quite resistant to doing it, because it just gives you so much rich information. So please do spend time on this. Please do review the trends. Do this work yourself. Don't farm it out to anybody else, because we tend to remember the really great clients and the clients who are really, you know, maybe a bit challenging or more difficult or take more work to serve well. So do it yourself, because that piece in the middle, kind of sorting that out and really getting clarity about those clients, is super, super important. And in section 3, we're going to come into how you then look at decision makers and delve into that. But in the stock taking phase, really get your database material together and start reviewing trends and themes. And what I'd like you to be pulling out, which is what I encourage my clients to do, are the top 5 groups of customers that you would like to target. They may be sectors, they don't need to be sectors. You know, really looking at the profile of the organizations that are either the people you love working with the most, that you find the most fulfilling and productive, or the ones that are you know, going to bring you some quick hits and quick wins, or it may well be customers that actually it takes longer to romance them and bring them on board, but they are absolutely your ideal target client organization. So we're going to tuck that in our back pocket for the moment, but that work takes a bit of time, so you need to start that quite early. We then want to take a good look at your website and your digital presence and performance. And if you have booked or are doing or have done a one-to-one with me, you will have been given a detailed website effectiveness report, which looks like this. And I've just mocked one up here for Leeds United. It gives you a percentage score out of 100. That is based on over 70 criteria that we assess in terms of the website's effectiveness. It will give you a lot of detail. So these are the detailed recommendations, and it goes through bit by bit, giving you lots of explanation about what you can do about the issues that are raised. And what I love about this report, they give you a sort of grading criteria, 2 areas. Is it easy or hard to solve? And will it have high or low impact? And you will see that these circles or wheels are next to every single recommendation. So you can see the impact of doing it or not doing it, and you can see how hard or easy it is to solve. So you will get that as part of your one-to-one session. If you are interested in any of these, then please do get in touch. Lucy, unfortunately, in this particular program, all of the one-to-one sessions are now booked. However, please do send an email to goglobal@weareumi, U-M-I, so goglobal@weareumi.co.uk. We are holding a list of one-to-ones as a waiting list. So if some do become free or available, we will let you know. So thank you very much for that. But again, there are quite a lot of different tools that you can use to assess your website. It's something that I always do when I'm starting to work with clients, is really do a deep dive, look at the website and pick out the things that have worked well and things that haven't worked well. So do take time to do that. You will also want to use the time in this stock taking session to research your competitors. So much has changed over the last year. So if you haven't done this in the last 6 to 12 months, I really recommend that you do take a deep dive and look at your competitors and what they are up to, and you do some benchmarking with your offer. A really critical thing to do. And if you are internationalizing your website, you definitely want to be looking at your competitors and customers' websites and digital offer, because that is the minimum standard that you need to be reaching. So this is an important piece of work. You also want to do your market research, and what I do recommend is that you look at the DIT in Yorkshire and the Humber, or the North East or North West, or London, depending on where you are based, and you do in-depth market research. This is so fundamental to everything you do. It can help you select the markets that you wish to target, which is important to your export strategy, but also doing market research in terms of digital, in terms of customer behaviors, in terms of what's the available market. Is there an appetite for my offer in these particular areas is absolutely fundamental. Understanding the local language and cultural preferences. So you need to start that early on in the process. And you will be wanting to revisit your strategy as part of this as well. And what I do now typically is take people through the 6 Ps of marketing, and we reflect on these step by step. And I would recommend that you use a similar approach. It's simple, it's straightforward, and it will take you through the core essentials. So the first P is people. And that can be your customers, and we'll come on to the customer profiling. It's your competitors. It could be that you want to review your distributors or agents. Where is that working well? Where is that not working so well? How can we actually maximize how effective those relationships are? I often do reviews with clients looking at just that element, and who are the other partners and stakeholders that are important in this aspect of your global marketing. So people is a really important part to focus on. Product, your product or service offer, how relevant is that now? Have you had to pivot? Are there new opportunities that have raised their head during the last 12 months? And, what does your product look like? And actually, what is the appetite for your product in different markets, from the UK to Germany to China to Kazakhstan to Peru, for example? Are different products and services more popular in different countries? And that is a really important element for you to reflect on. So getting your product positioning on your home page of your website is key, because over 97% of people visiting a new website want to see the product offer or the service offer first. Is this website relevant to what I am searching for, is the key question. And of course, price. Your competitor research will help enormously with this, but you do need to reflect on price, and are you still competitive? What needs to happen in terms of your pricing strategy, your route to market? If you're going through agents, distributors, retailers or wholesalers, will need to accommodate that price. And of course, you need to be looking at your competition as well. Things to reflect on will be exchange and currency risks. And of course, the partners in the program, but also the Department for International Trade, will be able to lend you quite a lot of support with all of this, and they have good support and potentially some funding to help with all of this internationalization work. Place is key. Where are you located as an organization? Do you want to have virtual offices, or have you got offices or partnerships in different countries, or have you got representatives in different countries, and how are they set out in your offer, and how are you maximizing those opportunities? Certain markets, for example, like the USA, if you don't have an office in those locations, the element of trust may not be quite what you want. So setting up a structure where you can look as though you have a local presence can actually engender a lot of confidence and trust in you. And then, of course, promotion. How do you promote your offer and make sure that it's easy to find, easy to engage with, and it is really motivating and encouraging me to do business with you or to buy? How does that take place, and how are you adapting it? What search engines, what social media resources, how digitally savvy are people, what does the approach need to be? Are they open to email marketing? Do they prefer face-to-face? Do I need to produce hard copy for certain sectors or regions? All of that needs to be reflected on. And of course, a huge number of answers will become apparent to you as part of your customer profiling exercise. And finally, process. So much of dealing with international trade is a process-driven aspect. And of course, when I'm encouraging clients to include languages and translations on their website, they say, but what do we do if we get lots of inquiries through in a foreign language? Well, it's a wonderful problem to have. It's a good problem to have. It is a question of process. How can we actually set up, our call structures? How can we set up perhaps freelance or agency support, or do we have any language skills within the business? What templates can we use to help with that process, to take the pressure off us, have a great process there so that we can then really engage with the questions we really do need to delve into and answer in more depth, effectively, with some qualified local language support. So a lot of these things, and I've just given language as one aspect of selling internationally, is very much a process-driven aspect. So we spend a lot of time looking at all of the processes around that entire sales journey. So that is the element of stock taking. Do drop any questions in that you might have. And I'd now like to dive into quick hits, quick wins. Where are the opportunities? What can I fix really quickly and get running better for me? Or what can I tap into that will bring me, some quick business or some quick opportunities, or some swift benefits? And what I'd like to hone in on, whether you're B2C or B2B, is LinkedIn in the first instance. So while you are, preparing to internationalize your website, while you're working and doing the research to globalize your offer and getting all of your ducks in a row, you can internationalize your LinkedIn presence within 24 hours, to be honest. It's not a massive job, and it can start to have huge benefits. LinkedIn is present and visible and active in over 200 countries and regions. There are now 722 million people plus active on LinkedIn, and it is becoming a phenomenal resource, with Microsoft now investing heavily into new features and functionality. So it's a presence that can also give you a massive boost in terms of search engine optimization benefit and visibility. The other aspect that I love about LinkedIn, of course, it's business, but it's personal. And how you put your best foot forward in international markets can have a huge impact on how you are perceived and how successful you ultimately are. So on your LinkedIn profile, I work with clients to ensure that they are on brand. They've got a great background image and a top quality head and shoulders shot, smiling, looking inviting and accessible. We even have some trust enforcers here in Stephen's profile, top right. And he has got a great headline underneath his name, 220 characters available to you to give me your best elevator pitch. Who are you? Why should I be interested in you? What's your offer? And what are you going to do for me? These are all questions you can start to answer in that content. Get your international contact information up here in the contact us section. Make it easy for people to reach out and connect with you. So I'd just like to give you some examples of people and what they've done with that background image. This client, Prismatic Wealth, they have showcased their ideal target clients there with a strong brand presence once again. And this is not just about one or two people in the organization having this. it is very much a question of you getting all of the people who are on LinkedIn in the organization on brand and at the same level. Victoria's asking how you can translate social media into other languages. No, Victoria, it's not done automatically. All social media resources do allow for translations, and that can be a really great place to get to, but you will need support to obviously keep the translations updated and to keep the conversations going in the local language. But it should always be done by native speakers who understand your sector. Please don't use any machine translations for any content like that. But all social media resources have that capability. I'm going to be showing you how to do that on LinkedIn in a second. So again, just stay on brand. And I love the straight talking specialist financial advice for corporate and private clients. So she's actually naming her audience here. So I know that she would want to work with people like me, for example. Paul has kept his headline simple, but I do love what he's done in the background. They work with huge tankers, they work with big yachts, they work with super yachts, cruise ships. So you can see the different types of target clients that he is aiming for, and they've got their product offer up there along with the branding. So again, a really great profile there. So look at what you have at present across the organization. Get yourself on brand, get some great content on there that's keyword rich. Make sure that you are making a great first impression. Second job then is to create a great profile. Once you have that, you can, of course, translate that profile into 24 different languages. This is where you would do that. So once you've got your English profile sorted, LinkedIn would take a cloned copy of that, and you can have that translated into 24 different languages. When I did my German translation on my LinkedIn profile, my views went up 465% in 3 months, which just gave me a huge uplift in the German market. So I delve into this in the LinkedIn sessions in a lot more depth, guys. But this introduction of language content can give you a real boost in search engines in the local market whilst you're doing the other stuff, and give you a significant leg up. The other aspect, of course, is then reaching out to people that have got very strong networks and very strong connections. So David Sabucci, I managed to find his profile through a connection through the DIT, and I was about to head off to Canada in 2016, and he was such an amazing connector. He's on the board of most organizations that you could choose to think of. So I wanted to connect with David. So what I did, I checked out his LinkedIn profile and found he'd written a book about growing up as a Japanese boy in Canada. So I bought it, I read it, and then I crafted a 300-character message mentioning the book, mentioning I was coming to Canada and would he have a time for a conversation with me. And he got back to me within an hour. So if you put yourself in their shoes, keep it targeted, keep it focused, but really grasp this element of giving as well as asking, it can work really, really well for you. So here is an example. I wanted to reach out to the mayor of Vilnius in Lithuania, which is another of my target markets, and crafted a message to Remigius there, who was a first-degree connection of Sandra Kundrota, who used to run the British Chambers of Commerce. I've done some work with them. And so I did some name dropping, crafted a 300-character message, sent it off, and he got back to me within a very short space of time. So make it personal. It is so important, but use LinkedIn to its best effect and maximize the opportunity of LinkedIn whilst you are developing your other resources. The other aspect to start getting familiar with in terms of quick hits, quick wins is LinkedIn's advanced search. And I'm just going to demonstrate this to you very quickly. So you can here type in, for example, HR director as a phrase in inverted commas in the advanced search box. And it brings up on my profile 173,000 results, too many to dive through. When I go to all filters and I say, well, I just want my second degree connections, those based in the UK, in food production and with English profiles, when I filter and apply those searches, it brings up 29 results. And that is a cracking business development list. So LinkedIn has a number of different uses. Please make sure you are maximizing all of them. Once you have searched your profile, you can then create a search alert. Anyone who enters your network from that day forward, you will get weekly updates from LinkedIn with new connections that you can reach out to, and you can have up to 3 saved searches with a basic account. So get your LinkedIn profile sorted out, go back, watch maybe all 3 of the webinars. Certainly the one I did yesterday is a good recap. The others go into a bit more detail. And you want to be putting some good content out there that can work hard for you. So create articles which will work hard for you on search engines. I recommend 1 a month. And create posts which will work hard for you on LinkedIn, but aren't picked up by the search engines. You have 1,300 characters. You can also share it with Twitter if you wish. You can link your Twitter and your LinkedIn account. And make sure that you allow comments on those posts. You can upload videos and images which will make them work harder for you, or documents. And there's a lot of other tricks that I show you in the LinkedIn webinar, so please go back and watch that on demand. But reaching out and sharing great content that you know from your customer profiling your target clients will enjoy is a really important aspect of maximizing the benefits. On a previous program with the same objectives in mind, we've worked with a chap called John Hewitt, who in a 2-month period, putting this stuff into practice, increased introduction email responses by 41%. He got a 221% increase in LinkedIn followers. He put 2 posts out looking for distributors in different regions and had 7 genuine inquiries within a matter of weeks. That John is confident will go on to convert. His social selling index went up by 14%, and his quote requests went up a whopping 241%. So it doesn't take much to tap into those quick hits, quick wins, guys. So please, please, please take advantage of this opportunity. The other thing that you can do, which we've had up there far too long ourselves amidst all of this massive change, is a more extended set of holding pages with new website coming soon. Make sure that that allows you to engage with people. People can register their addresses and you lay out your offer is a good interim solution. And finally, by way of quick hits, quick wins, given you've started doing your database collation for your customers, get on the phone to them, start talking to your clients, look at your pipeline, you know, what is stagnant there, what is static, and what conversations can you pick up, and can you have a fire sale? You know, is there something there that you can put out by way of a quick offer at the moment that will just get that business development working hard for you? So some quick hits, quick wins there for you to reflect on, jot them down on your action plan. Dinah has a question here. Separators for LinkedIn, I tend to use semicolons, commas, I think work as well. The separator question is important in links and URLs. You need to use hyphens there. Google doesn't recognize underlining as a separator. So a few things there for you to think about just in terms of good digital practice. So thank you for that question, Dinah. Oh, thank you, Lucy, recommending you look at the LinkedIn session from yesterday. Yeah, we had a great session yesterday. It was really, really phenomenal and very much enjoyed that. So customer profiling. So you've done your database analysis, you've got your trends and themes. The next question is, who is the key decision maker within each of these organizations? Because they are the people that you really, really want to be talking to. So HubSpot have a great set of templates and some really great information online that will help you get to grips with that customer profiling if you want to do that yourselves. They have explanations of B2B and B2C approaches and how to create the personas. And these PowerPoint templates you can use to actually craft those customer profiles. What they look at is, what are the demographics around these individuals? What is their job role? What are their top priorities? What are their key challenges? What are their pain points? How can you start to address these pain points? How do they want to be communicated with? What are their digital preferences? You can even delve into social media. What are their social media habits? What resources are they using? When? You can put in questions around, have they worked with us previously? What was the experience like? But I tend to keep these short, 20 minutes. I ask permission to record them. They will then give you the interviews that you can do with customers and discussions you can have with them will give you a huge amount of information. So if I am working with customers now, I really insist on doing this because it's just a win-win situation. It means we are working on facts and figures and evidence. We're not just working on assumptions and best guesses. And your experience, of course, but this gives us the evidence to really hold up your marketing approach and your business development activities. So try and talk to 2 to 3 customers in each of the key 5 groups that you're going to select. Prepare your questions in advance. Don't read from a script. Try and get their permission to record the session. I've never had a client turn me down yet. It will give you keywords and phrases, testimonials and case studies, pain points and opportunities, their communications preferences, their social media habits, the right tone and content, what they're interested in, where they hang out, who else they know. It will give you such a breadth and depth of understanding and content that will feed the rest of your internationalization. And of course, you need to be doing this for each of your core target countries and markets, starting with the UK, get that as a solid foundation and building on from then. We pull together customer profiles that look a lot like this. This thanks to an agency that I work with called CX Marketing up here in the Northeast. We really develop a quality profile that you would be happy to put on the wall because we want you to get up close and feel comfortable with each of your target audiences so that you are truly creating the international marketing approach and resources that will work well for them. So when we're looking at a client database analysis, what do we actually mean? Well, you're going to be producing a spreadsheet of all your clients. I recommend the last 5 years if you have. You're looking obviously at identifying the different types of clients, sector, demographic, source and size of client. You're looking at which clients take which product or service, which is really valuable information, particularly from which markets, which will give you evidence and information around product positioning. Identify the profitability per client. And of course, then grade these clients. So are they a key client? Have they got potential to be a key client? Are they profitable but unlikely to become a key client? Or are they unprofitable or non-core or difficult to work with? And actually the clients you say no to or refer on elsewhere are probably just as important to deal with as your key target clients. And I delve into that in a lot more depth in the sales and business development sessions. The value that you will get out of that analysis, well, how much are you earning from your top clients on average per year, and are there opportunities to cross-sell and upsell? Are there any trends for the most profitable or least profitable types of clients that are important for you to consider? And how much repeat business are you getting, and how much are your loyal clients worth to you? And is that something that you really can and want to cultivate? So thanks to Excedia, I use here a chart from the Go to Expert program that reflects on profitability and enjoyment. So on the bottom matrix, profitability, along the side, enjoyment. And obviously, if they are least profitable and least enjoyable, they're the ones probably to say no to. If they are the least profitable and you really enjoy working with them, then yes, you will want to look at that. You know, either box them off and spend a certain amount of time with them, or they're clients that you can upsell to. If they are not enjoyable but very profitable, then yes, you want to be serving them well, but not spending a huge amount of time with them. Where we really want to be is in maximum profitability and maximum enjoyment. And they are the clients that you can take great care of and really serve well. So this matrix, I find, is a good way to keep a balance between profitability and your own sanity and enjoyment, because, you know, fulfillment in the work that we do as exporters is a huge part of this process. I then like to use Ansoff's matrix, and just consider this in terms of target markets that you might be thinking of. So, you know, dealing in your existing markets, selling existing products is relatively easy, hence the low number. If you were looking at new products into existing markets, then again, it's not as challenging. But the moment we start launching new products into existing markets, the last one is obviously existing products into new markets is a 4. When we start looking at channeling new products into existing markets, it starts to get a bit more challenging. And of course, new products into new markets is the biggest challenge of all. So deal with the 1s, the 4s, and the 40s first if you are able, and then look at complete diversification in terms of new products into new markets is a good approach to take. And of course, don't forget, in terms of your clients that you are profiling, that you can pick up the phone and talk to them, engage with them on social. You can contribute ideas, resources, and supports to their day-to-day, build a community and share generously, maintaining good relationships with referrers, and refer to other people as well for that win-win scenario. So you can also start sorting out your customers in line with these criteria as well. So that was quite a lot to take in. Your customer profiling is so critical to everything that you do. And as mentioned, it will give you answers to pretty much everything that you need answers to, particularly in terms of internationalization and content creation, which, after all, is the petrol that goes into the tank of your beautiful Ferrari or Porsche or whatever it is that you would like to use as a representation of your export strategy. It is what is going to make it work for you. So spending time on your customer profiling and understanding your customers and their preferences is critical. So step 4 is tuning into your intuition. And I won't spend a lot of time on this, but just remind you of Steve Jobs' quotation, intuition is a really powerful thing, more powerful than intellect, in my opinion. And so often I will hear exporters talking to me about, oh, you know, I just know I've got this feeling, I've got this gut instinct that this is the right way to go, this is the right thing to do. And what I would like to share with you today is just a snippet of our Business by Heart program, exporting and doing international traders at the forefront of that. And it's something that great sports people and great entrepreneurs have done for a long time, is just tapping into that intuition, that gut instinct, and really honing that relationship with yourself and developing that. Why is that important to do? Well, our conscious mind, our thinking brain, is actually 5%. It's the frontal lobe, the neocortex, at the front of your brain, that is in charge of all of the conscious actions that you are taking. The bulk of what we do and think and process every day happens in our subconscious mind. That's 95% of the brain, and it's where a lot of the good stuff really, really resides. So if we are here today, we need to make some decisions as busy exporters. Our brain will send us off to look at everything we've done in the past. It will analyze that and bring us back solutions. So if we have no new information coming in, what we had is what we get, because it's taking from the past and it's presenting that as an opportunity for you and a decision for the future. So we like to bring in new information, and we like to get you to start consciously using your brain's MD, that frontal lobe, to influence your subconscious and help it to make better decisions and choices. So we're looking at breaking the habit of being yourself and creating new habits. So the key question is, who do you want to be? If you've moved on from the past, you're putting that down to wisdom, and actually you want to cultivate, you know, great leadership skills, new habits as a business owner or someone working in the business as a professional. You will then create that role model, that profile of you and your business and what you want that to be in future, and you will put your attention and your energy on that. So we are cultivating new habits of thinking, acting, and feeling, which also affects your biochemistry. And those new habits are essentially repetition of unconscious and automatic patterns of thoughts, behaviors, and feelings. You know, it's your mind and body working together as one. And actually creating the habits is, you know, when you get in the car in the morning, remember those days, and you would drive to work or drive to a client, and you got there and you couldn't remember a single thing about the journey, but your body knew what to do and your mind knew what to do. So, you know, those habits, once they become really embedded and ingrained, they just become part of your way of being and part of your personality. So a tool that we use to cultivate this presence, this ability to calm down the thinking mind and access all of these great resources that you have within you, is what we call heart-focused breathing. It's a tool from the HeartMath Institute in the United States of America, and it tackles stress and overwhelm. It's a quick technique you can use numerous times in the day. It will start to get your mind and your body to create chemicals that feel more positive and are more supportive. Negative chemicals from stress and overwhelm, that fight and flight response, stay in your body for 6 to 8 hours. So 2 minutes or more of heart-focused breathing starts to switch that blood chemistry into something more positive that feels good. So all you do, close your eyes, you can put your hand on your chest, on your heart if you wish, focus on your heart, and just do it now with me. Let's take a breather in this busy session. So just take A nice slow inhale to the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And breathe out to the count of 5. And I'll let you do it in your own time. Quieten your mind and just enjoy a moment of quiet and rest to focus on your breath that gives us life and calm. Tapping into that feel-good feeling inside of you. And one last breath in and out. Great. 2 minutes for positive change. Maybe try it out at your lunch break. It is just wonderful to recharge your body and your feelings. And if you're interested in more, do have a look at the sales one. We spend a little bit of time talking about this in a bit more depth. And if anybody is interested in this, then please get in touch with me on LinkedIn. I'd be very happy to share things with you. Tapping into your inner self, your intuition, is also something that can really support your creativity as well. So creativity and innovation. And if you do adopt this as a practice, you know, it's those moments where you might be in the shower in the morning or out for a walk, or just taking a breath in a busy day, and you've been asking yourself this question you want answers to, and all of a sudden, bang, your subconscious just offers up that solution to you. So that's what we are looking for here. So step number 5, hopefully you're feeling tanked up and refreshed. So how good is your welcome mat? And this is quite a chunky section to take you through, but with lots of visuals that will hopefully get you thinking. So I would like to ask you, please drop into the Q&A section. What is your main product or service and which target country? So it may be widgets to Germany, or training services to the UAE. Just a quick one-liner so I can jot down some of your responses here. What's the main product or service? 1 word or 2 words, and what is the target country that you are aiming for? And I'm going to take a quick drink of my tea while you are doing that. Lucy, thank you. Accountancy to the UAE. That's great. Thanks ever so much, Lucy. Oh, that tea's good. Richard, high power radar and amplifiers worldwide. That sounds interesting. Victoria, wildlife art. Oh, they're coming in fast now. Wildlife art and gifts. I'll take the USA. Wildlife and arts to the USA. We've got such a good mix here. Thanks, Victoria. That's really great. We have Anita, haute couture wedding in Dubai. Wow, that sounds interesting. Wedding and couture to Dubai. Anita, thank you for that. We have Dinah, translation services into China. I know you do a lot more countries than that, but that is your top country at the moment. Thank you. Hadil, self-catering in North Yorkshire in Filey. Well, that sounds great, Hadil. We could all do with some of that at the moment. Self-catering. I did have a look at your web offer as well, Hadil. It looks really good. Charlotte is offering luxury wallpapers and fabrics to the USA, and I've been looking at those 2, Charlotte, prepping for our one-to-one. They look absolutely awesome. Love what you're doing there. Very unique. Vicky, working with an acting agency, wanting to launch into Dubai. Interesting, Vicky. Thank you for that. So acting in Dubai, you know, in the Emirates is such a core target market for a lot of us. We've got the luxury here in Newcastle of 2 flights a day, or we used to. Roberta, you're looking at niche excavator attachment worldwide. We have such a variety of products and services on offer here as well. And Dinah is also doing handmade baby gifts to the USA. Interesting, Dinah. Thank you. Okay, fantastic. So that gives me an idea of where you are focusing. So thank you so much for those. Now, first thing, action plan time, guys. What is your Google footprint? When did you last Google your company? When did you last Google yourself? My brother-in-law's called Michael Jackson, so he always has to put Newcastle or Tyne and Wear or such like, because otherwise he doesn't stand a chance. But check out your Google CV and your footprint and make sure that you have got a good presence that you would be happy to print and hand over to clients if they were in front of you. Our objective today is to help you improve your Google footprint and make sure that you are easy to find, easy to contact, and easy to do business with, no matter where in the world you are. And you will see here, there are different search engines in all sorts of different countries. The opportunity here is for you to be visible, to come across as genuine, authentic, and engaging in each of your target markets. I promised you a tool which is really great for checking out which search engines have what market share in which country. You can also check out, using this tool, for example, what social media resources are most common in respective markets. So it is gs.statcounter.com. So do jot that down, have a play around with this. It will be a great tool for you to use in your search. The first step I take with clients is looking at whether they have a .com or another generic top-level domain. A .co.uk is a country code domain. It will work well in the UK, but it won't perform as well for you in international search. And the same with all of the other country code domains, which is why we don't see foreign language websites here in the UK. If you can't get the .com, there are other alternatives. But if you want search to work hard for you, it is well worth considering switching from a country code domain to a .com. You need to be careful if you are in retail, for example, and you have built up a lot of traffic to the .co.uk. That takes more reflection and deliberation. Are you targeting countries or languages? In the top right-hand corner of your website, you will want to have a selector. Does it say Spain, the country, or does it say Spanish, the language? Spain, the country, you can target in a niche fashion around 47 million people. If you go for Spanish as a language, you're covering everywhere from West Coast of America, Latin America, across the globe. 334 million people roughly at the moment who are typing inquiries into Google. So it's a much bigger audience, but it's much broader and much more generic. And of course, huge differences in the Spanish that's spoken in the USA or in Latin America to what's spoken in Europe. So decide on your targeting. It needs to match your exporting model and work for you and your clients. We recommend a 3-step approach to internationalizing your offer. First job, get it right in the UK first with your website and search engine optimization, keyword research. For the English market, you cannot build on a shaky foundation. So you need to get that right first. Second job is start to think global. So you will be wanting to reach out to international markets using English. That may be simply including an international page in your current website, or you might want to internationalize the entire website offer. But you are proactively reaching out, and in your content, you will be talking about doing business from local to international, so from the UK across the globe, and explaining to clients how that sales process works, that journey for the client, if they are in different countries and cultures. And you'll have UK and you'll have the +44, and all of that will be nicely set out. The third, and of course here you need to think about different words and different meanings in different countries. There are 4,000 words that mean something completely different between the USA and the UK, for example. So you need to think about international English SEO, or global English SEO as we call it. The third step is then incorporating a really local approach to your website and your digital marketing, where you will want to adopt the appearance of having a local presence in a particular country, so that you can really compete against local competitors in that marketplace as well, what we talked about at the beginning. And you will be including foreign languages at this point in time. And of course, you will need support from translation agencies who have experience of good SEO to help you with that if you are not a native speaker of that particular language. You may want to go straight to creating a dedicated website in Arabic and English for the Emirates, for example. There are quite a few of you targeting Dubai and the Emirates. 19% of the population there speak Arabic, the rest are multicultural, and English is certainly the key language there. However, you need to take that into consideration. So this process is really about using your customer profiling to determine your approach. You may want to start off quite slowly and just add an international page into your offer, so that you can do this development on a step-by-step approach. So let me give you some examples of what this might look like. So this is a very small service-based business down south in Chichester, aarontimsofficial.com/international. So you could take a look at his website. It's really well thought through and works well. He has got one international page in his offer. You can see a picture of the globe available to you worldwide. He includes content on how we work internationally and some international success stories as trust enforcers. He's got frequently asked questions on there. Can Aaron speak at my event regardless of the location, for example? So valid questions to be asking. That will minimize the number of enquiries you get into the business if you answer their questions in the content. So worth thinking about. And of course, he set out his service offer quite simply: coaching, speaking, and selling his book and courses on the back of his healing approach and protocols. So that's one way of doing it, and actually just coming back to that, really quite easy to just add an international section into your current website. I'd like to show you Nigel Wright, and I'm showing you both their new and their older website because they're both just really good examples. This is their current website. You can see they have different flags because they are targeting countries. You wouldn't use a flag if you're targeting languages, only for countries, because if you use the Spanish flag, the people in America are not going to particularly identify with that. They're quite emotive issues. So using the flag here to target countries, this is their UK website. You can see it is a subsection of the main website, what we call a subdirectory, nigelwright.com/UK, and the content is in English. This is their Swedish website. You can see here translated into Swedish, but they have used exactly the same template, which is really, really, really cost effective. Something for you to be thinking about here. Victoria, thank you for your lovely comments. I really, really appreciate it. That's very kind of you. And Dinah, you've got a .com and a .co.uk. The .com points to the .co.uk. It needs to be the other way around, Dinah, because the .co.uk is therefore the main domain. You need to flip that around. Direct message me. We can have a quick chat about that, Dinah, for sure. So this is relatively easy to do, and it's very cost effective, and it means you could include just an individual page for that language or country, which is an easy start. On their old website, they used visuals to great effect. So this was their UK page with the English flag, the British flag and the wing mirror. This was their German page with a local German telephone number at the top. This was their French page, and this was their Belgian page, where you can see they've included a second language navigator up here in the middle, offering Flemish and French as language choices. And ooh, I could do with some of that chocolate right now with a nice cup of tea. So Airbnb have built a full dedicated website for each of their target markets. And this website offer, Airbnb, is such a fantastic example of how to design for trust. When they were looking for startup funding, they didn't get much traction with investors who said, you know what, allowing strangers into your home will never work. So Airbnb knew that they had to develop their web offer to build trust with their audience. And I think you'll agree they've done a great job of doing that. This is the UK website. This is the German website. You can see they've kept quite a lot of it similar, but there are differences in there. But the way that they set out their offer is really pretty attractive. And you will see, for example, they're offering Australian English, Canadian English, Indian English, Irish English. So they really go down to a very, very fine degree of localization here. So again, examples that are quite good for you to have a look at. Techly, they have stayed on brand with the cups of tea. This is their group website with their international offer, but they have really tailored each of their dedicated websites and created a different looking website that really adapts to local cultures and preferences. This is their Polish website. Sorry, I thought I had another one in there. I obviously haven't. So you could have a look at Techly as an example. There are a really good one for you to look at. The BBC is another example, actually, where they have adapted local country offers quite significantly, the one to the other. Now, Apple bring all of their audience into apple.com, and they then send them out to a subdirectory dedicated section for that particular country or market, which is interesting. And Adidas have a very different offer. They take people directly into a dedicated website. And there are many, many different ways to do this. I think for me, the important thing for you is that you get this right and you choose the one that works well for you. And I really just want to flick through these quickly and show you these are old versions of the HSBC web offer. This is for the UK. Australia looks completely different. This is Germany. This is China, really busy and vibrant. And this is the UAE, the English version. If we click on the Arabic navigator, this is the Arabic version, reading from right to left. And of course, in terms of the metadata, if we go to the BBC website, for example, which I've just mentioned, and we have their website offer in English, you have the meta title, the meta description in English, which looks like this. But if we then have the Arabic offer, you will see the right to left reading template, all in Arabic. You also have to translate the meta title and the meta description that appear in Google searches. into those languages as well. So just bear in mind that your translation efforts need to include the data that you enter into the content management system, your keywords, your meta title, meta description, tags on images, etc. They also need to be translated into different languages. And I do go into this in quite some depth in the website and the international SEO aspects. So in terms of adopting languages, which does create a lot of additional work, but it is so worth it, bear in mind that 30% of all online searches only are in English. We think it's a lot more, but it isn't. You will get 4 times more engagement if you address people in their native language. So that is a huge boost to your offer. And the dwell time, which is a significant aspect of how Google rate your website in terms of SEO positioning, will double if you address clients in their native language. Bear in mind, languages is not just a question of people understanding your offer, but the search engines will also respond positively with SEO benefit if you are presenting a local language offer. And of course, from DIT research, we know that the companies who really embrace languages into their websites and digital offer will undoubtedly have higher export sales. So all solid reasons for you to adopt languages in your mix. So Willy Brandt, bless him, said, if I am selling to you, I speak your language. But if I am buying from you, dann müssen Sie Deutsch sprechen. You need to speak my language. So just bear that concept in mind, guys, because you are selling to your international audience. So it really shows commitment and dedication and respect. Even if you just have a single landing sales page in that language, it will start to perform better for you with your local audience and with local search engines. And there is a great website that you can go to, internetworldstats.com, where you can check out languages that are prevalent in different countries. They have some fantastic stats on there anyway, which will support your research. And there is another one called Ethnologue, ethnologue.com. And they also have some great information on languages. So we are in the final furlong now, and I mentioned at the beginning this aspect of planning early for your international content strategy. And this is so, so very important. And where I start at the beginning of this journey with my clients, obviously when they're doing their stock taking and their benchmarking, is with a full content audit. So important that you pull everything together in a central hub online that's accessible to the people that need access to it, and that it is well indexed and easy to find. So do spend some time doing that content audit. For your international website, I use this spreadsheet. I know it is the mother of all spreadsheets, but it works really well. And what this allows you to do is to look at either your existing website or your new website and actually work through it page by page. Now, when you were doing your customer profiling, you would also reflect on the customer journey, the sales journey, and adapt your website accordingly. That is the customer journey through your website. And you will create all of the pages that the client needs to have on that website to fulfill their needs and desires and ensure that you are doing your best to get a sale or a conversion. So you set out all the pages you have scoped out into this spreadsheet, and we then go through a column by column approach. What is the key message for the product summary page? What content do you need on there? 200 words, images, video, logos, accreditations, testimonials, example. And then next to it, you jot down, well, who's going to find that content or create that content? Really important on every page, what is the main call to action? Now that that person's visited that page, what do you want them to do there? And you need a strong, prominent, visible call to action, preferably up in the right-hand corner of your website, because that's where the eye goes naturally, which is why Amazon has the buy button there, for example. What testimonials and case studies can you embed right next to the offer? And we then add on lots of additional columns for your keywords, your meta title, your meta description, etc., etc. Once you have all of that data there, we can then send that out to the translation company, which is an easy way to get all of that content translated as well. Again, if you want to delve into this, I go into this in more depth in the SEO webinar you can watch on demand, and in the webinar about developing your international website from scratch. So do check that out. So in terms of your content, you are writing the content for your audience, not for you. And you will have the answers as to what they are interested in, what they are focused on at the moment from your customer profiling. Hopefully you're beginning to see why that is so important. And you will be adding variety to your posts, ensuring that all of your content is mobile friendly and presented well, and you'll be making it part of each campaign. And you will be measuring, analysing and adapting that content in terms of how well it performs. So what you really want to be doing is creating an article, publishing it on the website, and taking snackable chunks of that content to amplify the reach of that article across social media with a link back to the main article on the website or on the blog on the website. That is online marketing in action. The job of social media and all of that traffic under number 3 is to drive traffic back to the website where it can convert into sales. So from your customer profiling, because you've asked your clients what is top of mind for them at present, you will be able, for both your key events and your customers' key events, to map out what are the key topics month by month for them in their sector. And from your market and country research, you will be able to put key dates and events in as country key events as well. And what I recommend you do too is have a look at whether you can identify any content contributors to help you create your content from your customer database work and your customer profiling. So once you have those themes, you can then take a key theme. Let's say you make Easter eggs and you're doing your content plan for Easter. You would put April up here in the top. The month's theme is Easter, and it's all about, let's say, cultural habits and differences across the globe in terms of Easter, the role that chocolate plays in that, the scientific benefits of eating chocolate for physical and mental well-being, You'll have different points in that article. You write the article, you publish it on your website, and you would record that here under website week 1, and you will probably just want the one article that is going to cover the whole period. However, on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever is relevant for you, you will take little chunks, points in that article, and week by week, you will then create content as posts on each of the relevant social media resources to you with a strong call to action, probably to come back to the website and look at some aspect of the website content. It should differ pending the key thrust of the article, so that strong call to action. And I find this content planner works really, really well for our clients, just helping you once a month sit down and do that content plan. Once you have that in place, you can then get down to a weekly content planner where you are getting into a lot more detail and variety. So you will want to ensure with that content that you are really working out who's going to write the copy for you, that you get the tone of voice consistent, particularly if you have different contributors there, and that you get everything proofread a number of times. Really make sure that's done. Spelling mistakes and errors is one of the pet hates on the web, and it just erodes trust and confidence. Create FAQs and glossaries. They are great for understanding and minimizing inquiries, and they've also got a lot of your keywords in there, so they will work hard for you. Include rich content. Images, media, video is absolutely critical. We know from research that video can increase a customer's confidence to buy by at least 40%. So lots of different kinds of video, essential now on your website. And do have a cultural checklist, but keep the content simple and attractive. It needs to work well for your audience. And remember, a picture speaks 1,000 words. We could probably write a huge essay about what's going on in this picture at this point in time. Do your cultural research, guys. This is just an example of a kitchen furniture manufacturer offering stuff in the Middle East, and they had just forgotten that it was inappropriate to have a bottle and a glass of wine in every picture on the website and in their brochure. So make sure that you get these aspects right. Just as Pepsodent, this is a famous campaign, thought that people in Indonesia wanted white gleaming teeth, but they chew the betel nut there to make their teeth black because they think that looks sexier than white teeth. So you need to do your cultural research is the long and the short of it. And again, just a little tip here for you. This company wanted to really give the appearance of being big. It's a one-man band. So what they did is they bought Skype numbers in each of these regions, diverted them back to Philip's phone, put this page up on the website, which I think you'll agree is makes them look an awful lot bigger than they actually were. Their sales went up 160% in 6 months, and the service they offered was exceptional, but it did its job. He had initially calls diverting to his mobile phone, then he set up virtual offices with a call handling service that could send the inquiries to him in English straight away, and he responded within 24 hours. It was an absolutely beautiful setup. So here, if you would like to take a snapshot of this, please do. Otherwise, you can watch this back. These are just websites and a couple of books that I like and refer to quite a lot that will help you with your cultural research. There is a huge amount online. I think in particular, the Department for International Trade has got some really great country guides for you. Quintessential is superb, and the CIA World Factbook is another one which is pretty good, but there's lots of great content out there. Please take time, do your cultural research. So here we have just a little note about keyword phrase planning. Step one, really make sure you're gleaning your keywords and phrases from your research and interview with customers, and get all of those keywords into a spreadsheet for control. If you overwrite them in your content management system and the old ones worked better, you've lost what you had. Check and refine your keywords on an ongoing basis and watch out for emerging trends. And if you are signed up to Google Search Console, you've got the Keyword Planner, you've got Google Instant, you've got Google Trends, you've got your analytics reports. All of these are really great for keyword research. You'll find out more about them in the optimization webinar. But never be complacent and make assumptions. Make sure you're talking to lots of people to actually really build up your keyword accuracy. And measure and monitor, follow the data and be quite clear on how hard this is all working for you. And above all, stay in tune with your customers and really listen to them and talk to them frequently. Now, things have changed since I started out in 2001. Here's just a little bit of information for you from SEO Moz. You know, 5-word phrases are actually working really hard for you now. So 3, 4, 5-word phrases are working best. When I started off in 2001, we only ever typed 1 word in at a time. My goodness, how things have changed. So those key phrases are really working super hard for you. So maximize the benefit. That also means that clients are coming in on your product pages, service offer pages, most likely into the midst of the website. So you need to make sure that your navigation throughout the website is working really hard for you and is accessible. Bear in mind with keywords, I've mentioned this a few times today, the differences between UK English and the English that's used internationally in different countries and cultures. You can have a lot of fun with this, but you do definitely need to do your research here as well. And of course, as we set out in the international web optimization session, you really need to integrate those keywords across all your content, hard copy and online, but particularly online, make sure that you have it in all of these areas. The URLs, which is where the search engines start, through the title and meta descriptions that appear in Google searches, you enter those in your content management system. The menu and navigational elements, headings on your images and the alt tag descriptions in the main content body, and of course in any reviews that appear on that page as well. And each page has its core message, it has its core call to action, and it has its main keywords. So you can see how having that spreadsheet with all of this set out will really work hard for you. Make sure you're signed up to Google Search Console. Make sure that you have Google Analytics so that you can understand how hard your website's working for you. And make sure if you are using Google Ads that you get those 3 all linked together. There are some amazing resources in there to really help you to internationalize your web offer. And that will give you a multi-channel marketing strategy all ready for you to launch your new international website. So we have a few minutes left. I just want to say, wow, what an amazing journey this has been. I have absolutely loved doing these webinars with you. You have been great to engage with. I've loved doing the one-to-ones. I'm looking forward to completing the rest. We will keep you on the waiting list and keep you updated as to how that progresses. I wish you all the very best with next steps. Make sure that you get smart with your goals. You have a written plan. Please raise a glass to me, celebrate successes, do your very best. And remember the 4 R's. Remove what you don't want, retain what you want to keep, reallocate the work to somebody else, revise what you're doing to make it easier. So remove, retain, reallocate, or revise. Remember your 4 R's, and that will have you all the way to some huge success. Roberta, thank you so much for your lovely message. Don't forget the on-demand webinars here, guys, please. They are there at least until the end of April. We'll keep you updated as to what will happen with them, so you have time to go back and review them.